Hey guys, this is Neil Gaming, and today we're going to be doing an experiment with this here NES. Now, what happened when this NES is apart is I was in the process of recapping it, and I'm missing an essential part of putting new capacitors in it, and that's new capacitors. But anyway, there's an experiment I want to do with this where basically I was making another NES, I was modding it to put it inside of a PC case, and when I did that, I had the stock 7805 regulator on that NES run away from me. It started outputting way too much voltage, so what I had to do, because I didn't have another regulator, is I was using a PC power supply, so I just hooked up the 5 volts to the other side of the regulator, and it worked. But basically, in this video, what I want to do is see if, well, obviously I know it's going to work, but the big thing was on that NES, the RF out stopped working. It would only work on composite out, which was fine for that project, but for this one I want to keep it original, so I need to figure out, need to see if it still has RF out, and the whole point of doing this is I'm going to keep this one original, but I have a portable NES I probably could get out to show, but basically if I can do that, I can get it to be a bit more power efficient by getting a 12 volt to 5 volt regulator, like a car charger, and hooking that up through USB and making it work. So I'm going to be trying to power this NES through USB and see how the RF out reacts. The reason I think this might not work is on the other NES, the RF out went all haywire whenever I just put 5 volts to the other side of the regulator. So, but that could also be because that NES board was found in a landfill, and the edge of the board with the RF modulator, or not the RF. Is this an RF modulator? I don't know what you call it. The RF, I'll just call it the RF board, where this entire part of the board was literally snapped off, so I had to run wires to it. So there could have been contributing factors to that RF not working after I put 5 volts to it, but whatever. It's that's why we're gonna test it here. So first, I'm gonna make sure this NES still works, because I did remove a bunch of the solder from these pins, so those might not be making good connection, but I think they will. So let's grab the power right here. Should have, oh, it's already turning on. Okay. I'm not gonna do the pin 4, I'm not gonna tie pin 4 to ground on this one, just because I already have 2 other NESs that I have that, so I'm just gonna keep this one original. But let's hook it up, see if wants to start. If I remember correctly, this pin connector didn't work the greatest, so let's see. And this might be a bit of a fight to get it to. Probably could grab a better game for this as well. Wish I had my Game Genie still, but I used that as the pin connector for the NES in a PC case, because I needed a way to transfer the cartridge slot, so I just soldered a bunch of wires to a Game Genie and then to the original board. So it's I no longer have a Game Genie. Let's grab a different game. I think Mario 1 was one of the cards that tended to work better. There we go. Turn on our TV. This is an RF only TV as well, so oh no, it started to, and we're getting a pink screen. Okay. Well, that's a good sign. Okay, there you have it. I guess this one, that's right, this cartridge for some reason likes to work in the up position more. Never seen that happen before. Well, for some reason it's always this cartridge, but anyway, point is, it works, so the next thing I'm going to do is carefully see if I can turn it over. Well, it doesn't really matter. I'm just making sure I know which side of this regulator is, functioning, so, or not which side of it produces 5 volts and which is 12, so Hello? Of course. Okay. Well, never do that. I just shorted it out, but looks like it didn't break anything. So this side we're getting about 10. Fuck. We're getting about 10 volts in. Okay, so that's just about normal, and we're getting exactly 5 volts out on this side, so that's good. So it's the side that's closest to the edge is where we need to solder our USB wire. That is good to know. Okay. So let's turn it off, and we will see if we can, get this to work. So I'm gonna set up my soldering iron, and I'll be back when it's all set up and ready to go. I probably won't have the greatest camera angle while I'm doing this, so I'll just show it right now while my iron's heating up, just so you know. So basically, just so you know what I'm going to do, basically these 3 pins right here are the voltage regulator. The left is the input, right is the output, and middle is ground. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solder the ground wire to just any random ground around. I'm sure there's a million points, and then I'm going to solder the 5-volt wire to the output, which is on the right side. Then what I might do is try and jump this side to this side, or if that makes sense. So I might try and do that because it might need some power that it's not getting because it can't run backwards to the regulator because it's a set of diodes in there. So, and if that doesn't work, what I'll try, because there might be some sort of diodes or some weird circuitry going on here, I might try and solder, like bring a wire from the 5-volt side on the regulator to the input, the power input on here, because running 5 volts through that circuitry that's meant for 9 isn't going to do anything, especially because it can handle up to like 20 or something like that. So basically, if I just do all that, hopefully I can get the RF out to work on a 5-volt input, because I know it probably won't work if I just put 5 volts to it, but we will see. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'll set it back up so you guys can see. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is just strip this wire right here. So yeah, this is just a standard USB cord. Alright. Nice, this is copper wire. Usually this kind of thing's aluminum, and that copper is just better to solder to. So I'm just going to take these 2 data wires and just cut them since I don't need them. And then I can pin them and such, so alright. Alright, so got some solder on the wires, I think. Yep, we should. Okay, now we can put some fresh solder on here. And then let's solder it. So this side is the output on the regulator, which means that that's where we should solder to. Now I need to find a ground, and I believe I'm looking at right here is I think this should be a ground, but I will make sure with the meter. Just turn it over to ohms, I guess. And see, so this shielding should be grounded. Yep, that's a ground. Just wanted to double check that before I soldered to it. Whoops. Okay, so now we have it soldered. Let's wait, oops, I unplugged that. I guess I don't need the. I guess I can unplug the iron temporarily. I only have 3 outlets here on an extension cord that I can use. Alright, so let's turn our TV on. And we have our USB cable right here. So if I remember correctly, as soon as we plug this in, it's gonna turn on. Because for some reason it... No, It's not. Well, that's weird. Huh. So it won't turn on. Did I screw this up? Well, that's certainly a weird development. Yeah, so let's turn the meter over to voltage and see. Will it? Are we getting 5 volts? No, so that's pretty much. You immediately see that we're not getting power here. So somewhere, maybe this cable's bad, we're not getting all the voltage we need to be getting. Because that should be at about 5 since it's USB. So, yeah, we're not getting all the voltage. So, let me see if I desolder this one right here. Are we still getting... Oh, don't want to short it out. It's going to be difficult to do. So let's see. Put our meter here, ground it out. We are getting 5 volts. Now what concerns me is it is a negative 5 volts. Why is it negative? Huh. I can't imagine there'd be any reason for the polarity on this cable to be reversed, but let's see if we just do this. Yeah, it's giving us negative 5. That's concerning. Which means that if I put the positive on the on the black one and the negative on the red, we're getting just 5. So maybe if maybe I had it reversed because the cable's improperly labeled. So let's just solder the ground here, and it's still plugged in. Because this concerns me, I'm not going to solder the other wire to it immediately. On stick, damn it. Oh, the iron isn't plugged in. Duh. Okay. Well, I guess I can just touch them to where they're supposed to be and see if it turns on. Yep. It is turning on, so that's what it was. So I guess the meth head that designed this cable decided to put the positive to the black wire. So that's very annoying, but I guess I can work with it. I guess I should probably plug in my iron and then see how it goes. So plug the iron back in. It looked like the RF signal was pretty normal. It probably wasn't having stable power because it didn't have a stable connection, but yeah. Now what I'm going to see is, I cannot remember. I think as soon as you put power right here, it would turn on without the need for a power switch being on. Yeah, see? So if I hold it like that, without the power switch on, it still does that, which means that if you wanted to put a USB port on it, you'd have to cut the 2 wires that correspond to the power switch right here, tie them together, and then immediately run the power to the switch, which isn't a big deal. It's a pretty simple circuit if you know what you're doing, and then you just run that to where the regulator is. So, but from the looks of it, it looks like the RF is working properly, unlike the other one. So I think there must be something wrong with that NES. To be fair, that other one that I was working on, that I was talking about earlier, because when I put 5 volts to the other side of the regulator on that one, it wouldn't do anything. So, or it would give me an RF signal, it just wouldn't be a good RF signal. So I think that one probably has some bad components or something, which is not surprising. But and that one still works. Now I only use it on composite, which I mean, it wouldn't be a bad thing for most people, because I don't think a lot of people use RF, but if you're like me, you have an RF-only TV. And one thing a lot of people don't realize about the NES is that you can use them both at the same time. So specifically in like the Tetris scene, I've seen people saying, well, just use the composite out and use a splitter. Well, you lose a lot of, like, you lose quality and the colors are dimmer when you do that. So what you really should do is just hook the TV up through the RF out and then capture it out of the composite out. So anyway, time to solder it since my iron is heated up. That's okay. It's gonna turn on. Definitely plug things before you do this, because this is isn't soldered quite good. Okay, now it's soldered good. So if yeah, it really doesn't do anything if you press the power button here, but it looks like the signal is clean at least, which is what we were looking for. And the reset button still seems to function. But we're not getting a... Oh, there we are. So this experiment is a success, so if I wanted to, I could make it run off of USB power. So that was kind of the point of this video. I was expecting to have to screw around with everything else, but it looks like it functions fine. Next thing I'm going to do is see... God, it's going to be difficult. What I would like to do is see how it sounds, but I don't have a controller port. I don't have the controller ports plugged in. How did I do that earlier? Did I just like touch there? Well, there you have it. I just touched this and then it did something. That's funny. I like how. So I wonder if I do that again, if I can get it to boot into Mario. No, not doing anything. It's funny how that worked though. I just touched it and it did some random stuff. Anyway, point is that the sound seems to be working. There's a little bit of noise, but that's normal for RF. So if you wanted to do this, what you could do is take like I said earlier, and take the input, like install your panel mount USB port or whatever. Take the positive, run that to the switch right here, because this isn't going to do anything if I flip it, but you could run that to the switch, and then from there you could run the power from the output or from the other side of the switch to right here, and then just the two wires that you have unhooked, I forget which wires they are, just tie them together, so if there's something that needs power that isn't getting it, it'll work. Now the only other thing is it looks like that LED might be a little bit dim, but I think that could be fixed just by, I don't know, it really isn't a huge deal, but if you wanted to, you could run the positive side of the power switch to that directly, because I think it's a little bit more complicated, the circuit for the LED, because when you unclick the switch, it stays on, so it probably gets the LED power from the actual board, so you could just cross that, and you might get higher, better, brighter LED. But anyway, that's it for this video. I wasn't expecting it to work that well, so yeah, I'll probably might do a video on making my portable NES run off of 5 volts from a regulator, from a better kind of like transformer or whatever, better regulator than the 7805 that's in there from the start. So that'll be it for this video. I guess, yeah, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. I'll try and put up more content, but anyway, that's it for this video. Bye.